Hi everyone! Today is the day you've been waiting for. Leaf collection requirements. Alright, this is probably the whole reason you took botany is so you can make a leaf collection. I want to go over all your requirements, how to do it, what it's worth, all of that stuff, and hopefully you have this sheet in front of you so you can go through it with me, and I'll try to answer all your questions that you possibly could have. Okay. First of all, let's go over the purpose. Why are we even doing a leaf collection? Well, it is botany. We're studying our leaves. Number one, to become observant of the world around you and appreciate the beauty of the structure, function, and importance of trees. Get you out there, okay? Get you out in nature, looking, examining, really appreciating what you see. We already went through all the importances of trees and how special they are, and now we're just going to get up close and personal, and this is the way to do it. To become familiar and confident in your abilities to use identification techniques. You may have to be using identification books, apps. You're going to have to get very confident with all the characteristics of leaves that I'm going to teach you so you know how to identify them properly. And also, I like a leaf collection as a big project, a big grade for your class, because it's totally different than taking a test or a big test or a quiz. Those things you have to study for long periods of time and have your memory. This just is grading you on different abilities. Okay, what I'm looking for, attention to detail. Okay, when I go through these requirements, I need it to be as precise as possible. Every little detail counts, okay, in a leaf collection. This should be a pride and joy thing that you hand in, that you save. This is something you're going to pass on to your grandkids. Okay, so it's got to be good. That's something you don't learn sometimes by just studying for a test. This gives you the opportunity to hone in on other types of skills that are needed with lots of things that you're going to do in life that you have to be precise, attention to detail, and really be accurate, on time. That's in every job. You're going to have to do these types of skills. So this is a great practice for that. Your attention to detail, following directions, it might sound picky. I want the page number in the right-hand side. Okay, so you put it in the left. You're like, oh, it's no big deal. As long as I got the page number on. Well, it is a big deal because it's not attention to detail and it wasn't following directions. Okay, just think about the Olympics. I love watching gymnastics and Olympics. And just think, they got one square. They've got to tumble in. A big toe goes out of the square. Points deducted. You're like, did you see the flips they could do? But yet they're deducted because their foot went out a little bit. Okay, it matters. It matters. Accuracy, precision, attention to detail. That's what we're trying to do. That's like the other thing we're trying to accomplish by doing a project. Okay? So it does matter. It counts. So you need to really read your sheet. Okay? Did I want it centered? Did I want this? Did I want that? Make sure you double check before you hand it in. Okay? All right. So, number one, you must collect 20 of the leaves mentioned in class. So in your leaf packet, I believe there's about 23 or so leaves in your leaf packet. You don't have to find every single one in your leaf packet. You only have to find 20. And when we do take our walks, I'm going to mention a few more that are not in the packet that you're allowed to get. Okay, the ones in your packet are some of the most common trees in Illinois. Okay, so I love the ginkgo. So when we are on our walk, we're going to see a ginkgo, and I'm going to allow you to put a ginkgo in your collection. It should probably be your number one leaf to put in there. But anyway, so you can put the ginkgo in, and you're going to put some others in, perhaps that you want that we mention in class that we go over. But if we didn't talk about that leaf in class and I didn't say, you may also include this. Don't put it in there. Sometimes kids ask me, can I put more leaves in? Can I put 25 leaves in for extra credit? No, because I don't want to grade more. Okay, I don't want to grade more for extra credit. I am going to offer you extra credit, and I'll tell you how you're going to get it at the end here. Okay, so keep listening. You'll get it. Okay, so you got to get 20. You must have a 3-ring binder to put it in. It's just really easy and simple to flip through the pages. It needs to be very thin because I've got some examples I'm going to show you. Even a 3-ring binder like this, I mean, it works great, but as you see, you're only going to have 20 and then a table of contents, so 21 pages. So you can even have a smaller one, okay, if you want. This is a 1 inch, you can have a 1/2 inch, okay? But don't be bringing in a really thick one, 3-inch binder. We don't need that because I gotta take them all home and grade them, so I don't want a big bulk. Okay, so that's what you're gonna need. Number 3, try to find specimens small enough to fit on a single sheet of paper. There's some, the black walnut, for example. The black walnut is a huge leaf, okay? Try to find a smaller one if you can. Same with black locust or honey locust, those can get really big. Try to find a smaller leaf. If you cannot, okay, all the black walnut leaves are humongous. I will allow you to cut off some of the bottom or some of the top, but you have to have enough of the leaf where I can definitely tell that's a black walnut. I mean, don't just make the leaf really small. You can cut off the top few leaves or the top little bottom ones. Definitely has to fit on a page. We can't have leaves sticking out. That is unprofessional and they'll just break off and it looks bad. So I've got some examples up here. I'll see what they did for their, I don't know if I can find it real quick. Maybe they found one that was small enough that it actually fit, if they even used it. I'm not seeing that they even used a black walnut. Black walnut's usually the biggest one. Okay, here's their black walnut, and they did end up cutting it. But I can definitely have enough of the leaf on here that I can tell what it is. This probably at least went down to here. Okay. Next, do not use protective sleeves over your leaves. A lot of kids want to preserve their leaves, and they're very proud of their collection, and they want to put a plastic sleeve over it. You may do that a month from now, okay? I don't want you to hand it in that way, because what has happened in the past, people put a protective sleeve over it, and maybe the leaf wasn't 100% dry. Okay, it was 90, 99, and it looked really great, you thought it was, but then it will start to mold because of the moisture in there. So you want to have your collection for a while, and then once you've had it for a while and you're positive every leaf is dry, sure, put some protective sleeves over it and keep it. But don't hand it in in plastic. Okay, next, press and dry your leaves. You want to have only one, well, there's an exception. I was going to say one leaf on a page. Sassafras, that is an exception. And silver maple is an exception that you can have more than one leaf on a page. Because a silver maple, one of the ways to distinguish it, it's very silvery on the back. I got its name. It looks very white on the back. Some people have put, just the normal, and then they put the backside normal. Okay, they put 2 leaves so they can show what they would look like, and that's acceptable. I don't mind that. And sassafras, because there are different lobes to the leaves. Some have 0 lobes, some have 1 lobe, some have 2 lobes. It's nice to put a variety of sassafras leaves on one page so you can see that there's different shapes of the leaves. Those are probably the only 2 that I could think of that you would put more than 1 leaf on a page. Okay, so press and dry your leaves. When you get a leaf, you want to press it right away, okay? Otherwise, it'll start to curl and things like that. You go out, you collect during the day. As you're collecting, what I usually do, I take a notebook with me. I take a notebook, I collect my leaf, tear it off, I stick it in the notebook, I write down the name on the page so I don't forget. So when I get home, I can see the name of the leaf, I know, and sometimes I even write down where I collected it so I can go back and get more if I need to. So get a notebook and start putting the leaves in there and writing down the name, where you got it. And when you get home then, you're going to use you can either use some notebook paper or you can use newspaper. Don't use magazines, okay? But you can use other types of paper. You put the leaves between them, and okay, so let's take this humongous red bud right here, and we'll take some papers, and let's say I just have some papers at home, and I want to put my leaf between some papers, and I would take a big, heavy book, lots of big, heavy books. Have a stack of heavy books, okay? And you want to leave it there for 5 days, okay? Depending on the leaf, depending on the thickness of the leaf, it could take 3 to 5 days, maybe even 6 days to dry a leaf, okay? They're all a little bit different. Like I said, some have different thicknesses than others. You've got to get the leaves dry. The worst thing is when you hand in a leaf collection and the leaves have molded. Okay, and they'll mold for 2 reasons. They were too moist, okay, they were too wet, and you tried to glue them, or hey, they were perfectly dry. I mean, check out this wonderful white oak, okay, perfectly pressed, and it should be lightweight. I mean, just feathery, okay, very crisp, and it feels like it could break even. It's so dry. The other way it's going to mold is if you put way too much glue on your page when you try to glue it on your page. So you have to watch the amount of glue, and you have to make sure you've pressed your leaves long enough that they're totally dry and totally flat. That's what I would recommend. Get lots of heavy books, put your leaves between pieces of paper, and they should come out looking like this. Those are great leaves. Okay. And this is also something that when I say on time, a project like this makes you pace yourself. This particular project cannot be done the night before. You can collect all the leaves in one night. You cannot get them dry. It takes 3 to 5 days to dry leaves. So this is not a project you can. Okay, GoPro had shut off. We're starting again. My sentence was, this is not a project that you can do overnight, okay? It's got to be done in advance. The things you can work on well in advance are typing up your pages, okay? Get all of that, get it all prepared, ready to go. So even the night before you could glue, I recommend 2 nights before gluing, just to make sure it all goes well. Okay, number 6. Glue leaves onto plain white paper. I want plain white. I don't want colored paper. Doesn't need to be cardstock, but I don't care if it's cardstock. It can be. Some people prefer to use cardstock, but that's expensive. You can just use regular paper for a printer. It's fine. I give you suggestions. I've always just used Elmer's glue, okay? And some people have told me, so I put them on here. Some people have used rubber cement. Some use spray adhesive. You might even come up with something else that you want to use, but Elmer's glue does work very well. And I suggest you getting a small paintbrush, or maybe a Q-tip would work. And have a little spot of glue, and you dip your Q-tip in it, and you either paint the back of your leaf or paint on the piece of paper itself, and try to glue that down. Let me show you one that's very difficult to do. Oh no. Let me see if anybody attempted it with these. Well, the honey locust, I don't see that these people attempted it. One second. Okay, found one. My very own daughter's. She did a lovely job. Okay, so this is a honey locust, and as you can see, it's very difficult to glue. You've got all these little leaflets that you've got to try to get down. She probably did this a couple times, a couple attempts to try to get it this good. This is an excellent example of gluing down a honey locust. So probably put a lot of glue on the paper itself and then tried to press it onto the piece of paper. Now a bigger leaf, this one would be very easy to put some glue on the back, but I definitely suggest paintbrushing it on, because if you use the Elmer's and you just kind of make a swirly of glue, when you press that down on the front of the leaf, you're going to see exactly where the swirls were. So smooth out the glue. Okay, don't just make a little triangle of glue and press it down. You will be able to see it on the other side. It's got to be a thin layer, okay? Thin layer of glue works the best. When you are out collecting, I am going to recommend you collect several of the same leaf. I would collect, 3 at least of every leaf, because when you go to glue, you might mess it up. So you want 3 leaves already pressed, ready to go as backups. Okay, you don't want to get to the gluing process and realize you just ruined that honey locust and you have no backup. Okay, you got to have some backup leaves. It may not go right when it's gluing time. So that's why I suggest gluing probably 2 nights at least before it's due. So you can check it in the morning. Did everything stay on? Did I have enough glue? And maybe you have to re-glue a leaf. So collect more than 1. Really important. Okay, cover page. You need a cover page with your name. This is the things you got to make sure is on there. People have lost points because they didn't have all of these things. It has to have your name, has to have the date, the class, and the class hour. I'll just show you. So this was my daughter's leaf collection, Abby Shelton, September 15th, 2014. She was in, we called it Biology 2 at the time that she took this class, and she was in 4th hour. Now you can make your cover page fancy. That's fine. It can be simple. It can be fancy. You can have, people like to, find images and put it on there. That's just for the very front of your leaf, your binder. Okay, so we know whose binder this is and what I'm looking at. So you can fancy that up. Next, all information must be typed. And that's something, like I said, you could be working on this for a long time up to when it's due. Number 9, include a table of contents that states the common name of the tree and the page number it is found on in your collection. Some examples of a table of contents right here. Here's an example. They list the name of the common name of the tree and what page I can find it on in their collection, so I can quickly thumb through and find it. They don't have to be in any particular order. They don't have to go in the order of your leaf packet. Okay, so whatever order you want to put them in, just make sure your table of contents shows me what page I can find it on in your book. Okay. Number 10, page numbers have to be in the bottom right-hand corner. And I gave you, this is a sample of what a page would look like, and the page number has to be over here, just like this. The common name of the leaf on the top of the page, so I've got big sugar maple. Scientific name below the common name, and you have to write a scientific name correctly. The genus, the first name, has to be capitalized. The species is lowercase, and the whole thing either is underlined or italicized. You will get points taken off if the scientific name is not written correctly. So here we have common name and then scientific name right below it. Okay, in the bottom right-hand corner. So notice everything is in the bottom right-hand corner. You must put the leaf form. Now we're going to learn all about this in class, so you'll know what I mean by leaf form, whether it's simple, pinnately compound, doubly pinnately compound, palmately compound. You're going to write down what the form is. Venation, you're going to write that down. Whether it was pinnate venation, palmate venation, parallel venation, what type of venation was it? The date you collected it. The date, I don't want you to get too hung up on that. Now, as long as you've got the gist, whether you collected it on September 1st or was it September 2nd, that doesn't matter, okay? I want a time frame. okay? So it doesn't matter if it was September 1st, September 2nd, you can collect them all on the same day. What's very important is we know, hey, this is what the leaf looked like in September versus October or versus July, okay? And the year, of course, is very important. This collection that I'm showing you, I saved these. This is 2013. Okay, so it's kind of interesting. And Abby's was 2014. I've got one from 2019 over here. We've saved some collections over the years. So it's very neat to go back and see when was this collection actually done. So don't get hung up. You can't remember, did I do this on Tuesday or Wednesday? Put a date down. But, I'm wanting to know, hey, this is September 2020. That's very important to put down here. Because remember, I want you to save this. I want this to be very special. You're going to put a lot of effort and work into it. And let me just say something real quick. If you do a good job, they will save. These collections I was just showing you are old, and they look beautiful still. I've done 3 big collections in my life. Here's a collection that I did in 8th grade, and I have saved it. Hey, got an A. That's great. And it still looks very, very well done. They have different requirements. I didn't have to put anything up at the top, but I've got things here, and it looks the same as when I handed it in. Okay, if you glue it correctly, you'll save these collections a long time. The date, May 1987. Okay, I guess I gave that away. I was in 8th grade in 1987. Okay, a student gave me their mother's collection, because I won't show a name for that one, but this is a collection from 1976. This is awesome. I'm so privileged to have their collection. And it's still in very, very good shape. All the pages are looking good from 1976. The collection I did in college, I did laminate. I laminated all my leaves that I had to do in college, and these are the leaves that I teach from in class. So we'll get very familiar with these, and we'll hold them up and we'll pass them around, and we can look at some detail. So this collection's a little bit different than some others, where I put a lot of leaves on one page. This is a different requirement for those. All right, so I do want you to do a great job where you can even show your kids your collection. It'll be great. It'll be fun. Okay, date collected, we went over that, and I would like your initials on each page. Just initial at the bottom, so it finalizes. It's not like, hey, you typed it all out and just deal these out to everybody, all your typed pages. It's authentication, okay? So that's the only thing that doesn't have to be typed. Quick initials on every page, hand it in. All right, this is 80 points that you get on this project. It is based on the total number of leaves collected. In fact, I will show you very quickly the rubric I use when I'm grading, okay, all these things. Total number of leaves collected, you gotta have 20. Appearance and neatness of the project. This is where attention to detail and precision counts. Okay, your pages, they should not be wrinkled. Okay, everything should be nice and neat. The leaves, flat. Okay, we don't want curling on the sides. That means you didn't press them long enough. Okay, and you didn't press them right away. You can't wait a whole day and then go press your leaves. Okay, that day, collect them, press them, get them going. Okay, appearance and neatness of the project. Correct information. You got to identify the leaves correctly. You've got to have your scientific name written correctly. Follow directions exactly as written. I know it sounds picky, but it's got to be in the right-hand corner. You've got to have capitalization. You've got to have everything spelled right. That's the nature of this project. Instead of studying for hours for a big test, can you follow directions? Okay, that's the skill that we're honing in on. Okay, so when you get your page back that I have graded your collection, I put errors. Okay, so how many errors did you have for your cover page? Okay, and then I'll have my comments about it. Hey, you have one error. You forgot to put the class hour down. okay? Table of contents. Maybe you messed up something there. Number of leaves. Maybe you only had 18. Okay, and so forth. The leaf form, the venation, the date on the page number, the initials, the scientific name, leaf identification, neatness, things like that. And I add up my points. Okay, now, everything is not worth the same point value. The fact that you only handed in 19 leaves instead of 20, that's a huge error versus you forgot to put a page number on a page. Even though one error, they are not created equal. So it depends on your errors and how many you have of what strong of an error it is will determine your grade. Okay, so moldy leaves, that's really not that's really counting off for neatness and aesthetic value in your collection. So let's make sure we don't have moldy leaves as well. All right, due date. Very important. Let's put this down. Your due date is Monday, September 21st. Now I told you you have an extra credit opportunity. Here's your extra credit. If you do not procrastinate on this project, I want to reward you, okay? I'm going to reward you getting things done in a timely manner and not procrastinating, and you didn't need the weekend. You got it done by Friday, which would be the 18th. If you hand your collection in the Friday before it's due, and you didn't need the weekend to finish up, then you will get 5 points extra credit. Okay, so that's what I want to reward. I want to reward you for not procrastinating, and instead of handing in more leaves, and it's more work for you, and it's more work for me to grade, I want the project the way it is, 20 leaves. Even if you hand it in on time, that's great. It's okay that you had to use the weekend. You can get 100% on your project, but you can get 105 if you don't procrastinate. Okay? Sound great? I hope you're excited. I'm excited that you're getting started, and I'm even more excited to see your project at the end. Have a great day.